You know what? We can do this. Hello, everybody. Another episode about existing, caring, loving, and relationships this time. Basically, evolution shaped our need for mutually caring relationships. They are essential for our continued existing, it turns out, over millions of years of evolution, and for us, the last few 100,000 years. The relationships that we have, the loving, mutually caring and loving relationships, are essential for our continued existing. And by the way, I don't mean just any relationships, obviously, like bad or toxic relationships, but loving relationships, mutually caring relationships. We can have bad and toxic relationships, and we can learn a lot about ourselves to change that. It does not have to be that way, but it currently is that way a lot, and it is something clearly that leads to poor mental health over time. The main point here today in this episode is to explain clearly that mutually caring relationships are essential for our survival. Yes, they are good and they are enjoyable, but I just want to be clear about the fact that they are essential for our survival or our continued existing as humans and as a species. We humans have talked about love for a long, long time and talked about how grand it is and wonderful it is, and all that's true. And it is that way because that's why we do relationships, that's why we are involved in relationships, because of the mutually caring features that are so good for us. And again, it's not just for the heck of it, it's because of that's what we have evolved to need for continued existing. In fact, we all have the equal need and capacity for mutually caring and loving relationships. We may not feel that way, that's for sure, but we do, and that is a big part of this particular channel and all the episodes in it over time, is demonstrating that mutual need and capacity and helping all of us develop that mutual need and capacity for mutually caring and loving relationships. In terms of evolution and relationships and how things evolved with other mammals other than ourselves, my favorite example are a couple of the big cats. I just love this because they're kind of similar in size and, carnivores and all that stuff. Anyway, lions live together in groups called prides. And they do that because of environmental conditions over times of their evolution that they survived or they continued existing by living together and developing mutually caring relationships. Again, I assume they feel love like we do because they have the same structures for that in their brain and body, but can't prove that. Anyway, they do live together in prides. Tigers, on the other hand, because of their environmental conditions, evolved to exist basically independently or alone. They get together for a brief while for mating, and the moms obviously take care of the cubs while they grow up. But fundamentally, as adults, they live apart. Again, not because they don't care there's something wrong with them. No, it's because the environment over time and evolution shaped it, that living alone, they continued existing. Again, biologists who study tigers can tell you more about that. But it's just a great example of how relationships evolved for a purpose for that particular species continued existing. So to conclude, the purpose of this episode is to demonstrate, to explain why relationships exist. They come from just the overall idea of existing, universal existing, which is actively existing in living beings, which we call caring. And then for some species, mutually caring became essential for continued existing, and that's what is true for us. Yes, it is a grand and wonderful feeling, and that's true for a reason. So we continue doing it, and we really love each other. We have different kinds of love. We have small love, like love for our community. We have medium love, like for friends and sort of extended family. And then we have huge love or big love for like best friends and partners and kids and parents and all that. So we have different sort of strengths of loving connections, but they evolved for a purpose, and that's our continued existing. So again, more on this as episodes go on and exactly what's going on with mutually caring relationships, which comes from research, by the way, as to what that is. We'll talk about that, and looking forward to it. Take care, everybody.